A warlock private investigator has been out of the limelight for about 10 years now, but a new client knocks on his door in the middle of the night, bringing opportunity and a whole mess of problems. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Inc. My name is Wyeth, and today we are talking about the Chronos Chronicles series written by Shami Stovall. This is a 3-book series, the most recent audiobook being the third. Came out about a month or two ago, if my memory is serving me well, and it is definitely worth the read. Now, to give y'all some context, or at least a comparison, usually I don't do this, but hey, it's just right there. I'll go ahead and make it very similar to early Dresden. So if you loved the Dresden series, if you do still enjoy it, and really long for when he was doing that PI work that really brought us into the book series, then this one is the one for you. One item that I do want to mention for this series is the audio for this book series is done by Jeff Hayes, Annie Ellicott, some of the best cast and crew when it does come to voice narration. So if you do go in for audiobooks, then you will not be disappointed here. If you do prefer paperback or Kindle, I wish I could do it myself, but due to my visual impairment, it's not on the table for me. But even with that, you will still enjoy the book if you prefer to read it yourself. But enough about personal preferences. Y'all want to hear about why you should or should not pick up this book series, and I am here to give you that information. To jump into a semi-spoiler-free review, Adair Finch is a warlock of renown, or at least he used to be. After about 10 years, he's been out of the game as a private investigator due to a case that has gone bad with the death of his brother. It sent him down a spiral, and he has just been basically waiting for death. That is until a young witch knocks on his door in the early hours of the morning asking for his assistance. She was told if something ever went wrong by her mother to reach out to Adair Finch, the best warlock PI that has ever lived, to help with her problem. And her problem is not a small one. She has just recently witnessed the death of her witch mother, and she needs Adair Finch's help to determine why that happened, who the culprits are, and how she can bring them to justice. Now, Adair Finch is no regular warlock on the street. He has the ability to turn back the clock 24 hours. Sadly though, it is only after he sets a timestamp, so he is too late to save the young gal's mother, but he has all the time in the world to solve this case. And that is the great part about this book series. Yes, we're getting this very urban fantasy feel, but the mystery is really what is selling this series right here. And the author definitely writes a gosh darn good one, if I do say so myself. Jumping on over to the pro-con pro for this book series, why you should or should not pick it on up. The first pro is going to be the magic system. This is classified as an urban fantasy, but why I really do enjoy this magic system is it's very clearly defined without exposition dumping. You're finding out relevant information as you progress through the story, and I very much do appreciate that. When it comes down to it, you have all the classical creatures that go bump in the night, and they have their assumed set powers, so we're not reinventing the wheel here, but what I can appreciate is how the author handles wizards, warlocks, and witches. They have very defined powers that are not often seen through regular fantasy stories out there. The author definitely puts his own twist on each of these set roles. One example, I'll go ahead and give it away right now, is that warlocks make pacts with magical beings to gain a portion of their power. So the reason why our main man, Adair Finch, can turn back the clock is that he has made a pact with an old god named Chronos, the lord over time. So he has a slice of his power and is able to call upon it when he needs to, but these pacts are at a price, and there's a prime example of a pact being made in book 1, so you will not be disappointed there. The con for this series, and it's a throwaway con, but you know, I like to find one when I can, is that there are only 3 books out. I wanted to keep going down the book line, seeing Adair Finch's adventures, and just continue reading the story, but alas, I had to stop. This is a newer series that has recently come out, so if you're looking for a book series to bite your teeth into that has a lot of material there, then this one is not quite there yet. I imagine that we will be getting a book 4. I think it's basically confirmed with how book 3 ended, and I imagine this one is going to go on for a while, at least fingers crossed there. Finally, the second and last pro that I will mention is the main character, Adair Finch. I am a sucker for an MC that can be considered past his prime. I think it's a very good trope that is very rarely utilized in the fantasy / lit RPG genres, oftentimes forgetting a young man who's just turned 18 and gotten access to the system, or a young hero who's been reincarnated or isekai'd and we're seeing his young adult years. That is not what's happening here. We are seeing a man nearing 40 who has been out of touch with the magical world for 10 years now, and he is very well known, though everyone believes him to be dead, so his name carries some weight still, but he has to first convince the people he's talking to that he's the real Adair Finch. And that leads to some really good interactions. The main character himself is very relatable when it comes to how I imagine a down-on-their-luck 40-year-old would be. And he is basically having to be brought out of this funk by this young girl who is now going on the PI adventure with him. So it's a very interesting mentor-mentee relationship they are cultivating here. It's definitely bridging the gap on the emotional walls that he's set up in himself. So it's a great journey and a fantastic pick for a main character. I am so excited to see where this series goes. It's definitely going to be up there on my list for this year of top series that I've read so far. It's been a while since I read just regular fantasy, so once I saw the cover of book 3, I was like, dang, I gotta give that a try, and I have not been disappointed thus far. So if you are looking for a breath of fresh air or an urban fantasy feel, then I cannot recommend this series enough. Now we're gonna go ahead, talk about the spoilers and the deep dive of the video, so feel free to join me on the back end once you are caught up to book 3. One thing I do appreciate about the author writing the series is that the character growth is not completely up in your face. Yes, Adair Finch has opened up his shell a little bit and has started to make friends and consider a mentor-mentee relationship, but at the same time he still has this gruff mentality around him, and even though most of the people he interacts with kind of shake it off and say, you know, he's a teddy bear underneath, which to some degree he very much is, but still there is a certain degree of aloofness that the character still carries. Rome wasn't built in a day, and nor should character development be built in 1 to 2 books. We are still at the early stages, but Adair Finch is definitely being brought back into the fold, and my goodness, he has a lot of responsibilities now, opposed to what he had just mere months before, with only caring about himself, trying his best to die as quickly as possible by being lethargic. This can all be thanked to Bree Blackstone coming into his life, seeing him as a pseudo-father figure while her father was still kidnapped, and they have cultivated a great relationship of almost a father-daughter figure. It was very funny to me that once Bree was back in the fold of the PI case in book 3, since she was gone, rightfully so, in book 2, that she now has 3 father figures in her life, and they are just doing their best to try to train this young gal in the witching / warlock world, while also making sure that she can just be a young teenager. So there is something to be said there. When it does come down to Adair Finch's other relationships, we are going to be in an interesting spot with his relationship with Cole, aka Fox Pistol's new inhabitant. That was a fantastic book 2, if I do say so myself. There was a lot of different storylines there that really kept me on the edge of my seat. The Redwood Elves, making sure that they were cheating at their casino was phenomenal. Cole's interactions with human beings as being one herself for the first time was hilarious. The missing people / deaths of the women and gentlemen that we found out about by the Draugr was very interesting and a good tie-in to everything. You just gotta love what ends up being the perfect day, and Adair Finch can find his perfect run if he just puts in enough time. So I got the perfect run vibes off of this story, and that is one of my top favorite series out there. So time powers are just overpowered, to say the least. You can't beat him, so you might as well join him. So once we finally got to book 3, he started his PI firm, and in walks his sister-in-law, and she has made some deals with demons, both metaphorically and quite literally, and she is in a whole world of trouble, but Adair Finch is not going to let his brother's wife down, and they get into a phenomenal adventure. One thing I will say, it got a little repetitive dealing with the wizard in some parts of the book. I do very much enjoy how everything worked out at the end, but to be quite candid, I missed Cole as a character. Her ignorance on how humanity works, as well as her lighthearted spirit, I feel like added a lot to book 2 that we were missing in book 3. Now it seems that she will be returning to the gang here in book 4, now that she wants Adair to take her out on a date, which is just going to be so dang funny to me on how this is going to go. I would love to see book 4 end up being Adair Finch trying his best to solve a coinciding mystery while going on his date with Cole and making it a perfect date, as well as a finished case by the end of it, though we will see which direction the author takes it in. I'm very curious to see how Adair is going to raise a godling, Chronos' child that he has been given as an egg so far. Whether it hatches in book 4 or at the end of the book, we will find out. Is he ready to be a father? Time will tell. It is definitely going to be an interesting reaction with having him trying to raise a child. So all in all, I'm super excited to see where the author takes the series. I think there's nothing but potential here, and the author has done a phenomenal job up until this point. So if you did or did not enjoy this series, feel free to jump in the comments below. I am happy to talk shop as always. And with all that said, I do appreciate everyone's time today. It means so much that y'all check these videos out sincerely. So I hope all y'all enjoyed the video, and I hope everyone is sure to keep reading.